We're back out here once again, and today we're talking about some of the absolute best colors for late fall into early winter. I'm going to show you how I use them and why they work so well. Stick around, you don't want to miss this one.
I got him. He went after it. That was funny. Oh, he went after it. We saw him do it.
And here is this video's featured comment. Congratulations! If you would like to have a chance to have your comment featured in an upcoming video, all you've got to do is leave a comment. And now, on with the video. Welcome back to Lowbrow Fishing. And here we are, late fall. Winter is right around the corner. What that means is changing conditions. Here in South Mississippi, it's been very windy. Even today, there's a lot of wind. And in a couple of days, we've got a cold front coming through that's going to drop even our temperatures down into the upper 30s. For the rest of the country, that means a bitter freeze. But still, all across the country, we have lakes going through the fall turnover. What that is when that top layer of water, which has got a lot of oxygenation in it, and that bottom layer of water, which has no oxygenation, they begin to mix as that layer between them, known as the thermocline, starts to break down. What happens is you can get some cloudier water as that lake begins to mix up. But it will clear up, and it will turn gin clear as those waters get colder and colder. And we need to adjust for that, not just our presentations, but our colors as well, because those bass are going to be in a different sort of mood. They'll still bite, they'll still attack your lures, and they'll still hit them hard, but they won't have the energy to fight. This is the year that I'm skiing into the boat. Now, I'll have a couple of good fights here and there, but for the most part, if I'm going to be skiing a bass to the boat, even a big bass, it's going to be this time of year. So what am I doing? What colors am I using? How am I changing things up? Well, if you've watched this channel for any length of time, you know that old Lowbrow likes some crazy colors. I throw electric blues, I throw dreamsicle oranges, I throw June bugs when it's crystal clear water, and I'm out fishing for active bites. But right now I'm changing things up. This is the time of year when I'm fishing natural, when I'm actually trying to do my best to mimic those bait fish, because those bass don't have extra energy to spare. So they're not going to chase anything that looks crazy to them. Curiosity is not going to be as high for them as it is through the other part of the year. Right now, they want something that looks extremely natural. So that's what I'm going with. Case in point, this guy right here. This is one of my primary means of fishing right now, a small 1/4 ounce jig. This is a 1/4 ounce casting jig made by me through my bait company over at diamondbackbaits.myshopify.com. And these little jigs are amazing from the bank or from the boat. I've got it paired up with a small crawl. It's a smaller presentation, but it's in a very natural sunfish type of color. This is called Sundrop. These are very popular. Head on over to that store. There's going to be a link in the description and a link in the pinned comment. And thanks to everybody who's already visited, but I'm working that very slowly. I'm working that near the bank. I'm actually starting to beat the bank pretty regularly. And those small jigs really pay dividends. It's what I'm catching a lot of my fish on. Also, whenever I'm fishing a finesse style bait, something that's got a little bit more slow presentation, then I'm using something obviously like a fluke, right? Like a soft plastic jerkbait. This is a Strike King caffeine shad, and this is in that smoky color. This is very close to a lot of your shad species, your gizzard shad, your American shad, your threadfin shad. They're all going to be similar to this in their coloration. And this bait, how soft it is, works very well under the water. It looks like a very injured bait fish whenever you work it right. You don't have to get fast with it. Cast it out there, let it sink, and then just twitch it a little bit, and then let it sink, and then twitch it a little bit. I'm using a slack line, and I'm giving it very light twitches. Fortunate thing is in that clear water, even when I cast that lure way out there, I can still see it. So I can still be very mindful of how I'm working that bait. Another color that I like to use in that soft plastic jerk bait is, well, green pumpkin. Again, this is another softer style. This is a Reaper Baits soft plastic jerk bait in that green pumpkin. And this is another one that has done so well for me, especially lately as that water has really started to clear up and I can see right to the bottom. So again, Old Lowbrow is not known for natural colors, but right now I am throwing natural colors because that is what those fish are going after.
I got him. He went after it. That was funny. Oh, he went after it. We saw him do it. A nice little butterball. He's not huge, but look at the belly on that little guy. Not quite a pound, more than 3/4 of a pound, but he's got a big old fat belly. That's another one on that fluke. Let's see if we can't do it again. Thank you, little buddy. Appreciate that.
Even with something like a swim bait, right? You guys have seen that I've been using this. This is that green pumpkin magic. This is a Rapala Crush City Mayor. I've got it on what you guys call a lowbrow rig, which is just a 1/4 ounce jig that I've taken the skirt off of it. And these things catch so many fish. And again, this is that darker color. I could go with a white, but I really don't need to, as if you look under the water, this better represents what you're seeing as far as those bait fish, especially whenever they're swimming through the thick vegetation and you're seeing a lot of shadows being cast. Even if you're fishing a swim bait, does not mean you have to throw white. It doesn't mean you have to throw something very loud. You can go with something more subtle and still have quite a bit of success doing it. Obviously, it doesn't stop there. I'm using something, you guys know, the Waco rig, right? I have got this. This is a watermelon red flake yum dinger. I've got that 16th ounce nail weight, that tungsten nail weight on a 1/0 light wire Gamakatsu EWG. And I'm working this in places where I would not ordinarily be able to work a wacky rig. But that natural color and that subtle presentation, it really triggers those bass, and it's one of the ways that I'm able to get a lot of bites, especially this time of year, as those bass, like I said, they'll still bite, they will still chomp your lure pretty hard, but you're going to have to get it closer to them and you're going to have to slow that presentation down. That's why I'm using something like this jerk bait. You notice it's white, but it's not a hard white. It's kind of translucent and it kind of looks ghostly in the water, which is more in tune with what those bass are seeing right now. And when I'm fishing these, I'm not ripping them as fast as I normally would. I'm giving them long pauses. I'm being random and I'm giving them long pauses. Remember, the key to good jerkbait fishing is to fish them on a slack line. Jerk, jerk, pause, right? But you want to be random with it. Jerk, pause. Jerk, jerk, pause. Jerk, 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 pause, right? Be random with it. Think about how a little fish would look under the water. They don't have any pattern in their mind. They just move. And that's what you want to replicate. And something like this in that clear water, especially on a more cloudy day, works so well. This is the Yozuri 3DB jerkbait. This is a 110, I believe. It works great. I've caught so many fish with this thing. You know, these are some of my favorite ones, as well as, yes, I have to bring it out, the Lucky jerkbait. You guys know about this old H2O Express jerkbait. I've had this thing forever. This has been a staple on the channel. But look how natural it looks and how translucent it is, especially in that cleaner, clear water. This is going to look very much like an injured bait fish. So I'm giving it longer pauses, sometimes 10 to 15 seconds long, and I'm getting hit on the pause nearly every single time. Where during the rest of the year, if I'm fishing a jerkbait during the spring or during the summer, I'm getting strikes whenever I'm working that bait very quickly through the water, almost like a walking bait. Jerk, crank, jerk, crank, jerk, crank. And then they'll nail it as that bait comes by like a reaction strike. This, I have to leave it sit in the water, and I get nailed on that pause, and they hit it really hard. Again, you have to keep those things in mind. Whenever you're fishing in the wintertime, whenever you're fishing when that water gets cold, you are going to have to slow things down. You are going to have to keep things looking as natural as you possibly can. Those are going to be your best tools and the best ways that you can go out there and consistently catch bass. It's not that the bass are finicky. That's a mistake. That is not exactly what's going on. They just don't have as much energy because of how cold that water is. Bass are cold-blooded, which means they get their energy from their surrounding environment. And if their surrounding environment doesn't have much energy in it, also known as heat, then those bass don't have as much energy to tap into. They will still bite. They will still bite very hard. But you have to remember that the bite range that the bass are willing to go after a bait is going to shrink down quite a bit, and the speed at which they're going to go after a bait is going to slow down quite a bit. If you can remember those things, then you're going to have a great fall and winter out down there on the lake whenever you're bass fishing. So there you have it. Some simple techniques and some simple ways to manage your colors when that water gets cold and starts to clear up. You can remember that those bass are still hungry, but not as energetic, and keep that in mind when you're working your presentations. You'll be amazed at how many fish you'll be able to catch, even when it's super cold outside. Thanks for watching Lowbrow Fishing. We'll catch you in the next one.